Hi, everybody. It's Chaya Parkoff, licensed clinical social worker, and this is ParshaRx, mental health prescriptions from the weekly Torah portion. This week's Parsha, Parshat Yitro, begins with a simple yet profound statement. It says, "And Yitro heard all that Hashem had done for Moshe and for Israel, his people." The Midrash Mechilta asks, what exactly did Yitro hear that made him come? It explains that he heard about the miracles of the Exodus from Egypt and the war with Amalek. But everyone heard about these events. The difference? Yitro truly listened. He didn't just hear passively, he allowed what he heard to move him, to change him, to push him toward action. This past Shabbat, we witnessed another event that demanded to be heard. The release of Eli Sharabi, Ohad Ben Ami, and Or Levi after 491 days of brutal captivity by Hamas. When I saw those pictures, when you saw those pictures of them, frail, malnourished, stripped of their dignity, it was like a gut punch. Their bodies told the story of unimaginable suffering, and it was absolutely, positively undeniable. And yet, so many refuse to listen. So many deny there's a problem here. The people who should understand the effects of trauma, therapists, social workers, human rights advocates, have largely remained silent. These are the very people who teach about the effects of prolonged captivity, starvation, and psychological torture. They understand how trauma imprints on the body and the brain, how dignity is stripped layer by layer by layer. And yet, because these are Jewish hostages, they say nothing. The Gemara teaches words that come from the heart enter the heart. But for words to enter, the heart must be open to receiving them. Mental health often hinges on this very idea. Are we truly listening to others or just waiting for our turn to speak? Are we allowing ourselves to be heard, or are we silencing our own pain? Are we filtering reality through past trauma, or can we hear what is actually being said? Are we filtering reality through narratives that have been programmed in us, or can we hear what is actually being said? Yitro teaches us that true listening demands action. When we hear something painful, we have a choice. We can turn away, or we can bear witness, speak up, and do something. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory beautifully expressed this idea. To listen is to be open to the world, to others, to life itself. It's the gift of attention, the gesture of love. Listening is not passive. It's an act of love, of presence, of standing up for truth. Later in the Parsha, when the Torah is given at Har Sinai, at Mount Sinai, Bnei Yisrael respond, Na'aseh v'nishma. We will do and we will hear. The Talmud praises this response. It teaches that true growth comes not just from action, Na'aseh, but from continuing to listen, Nishma. Therapeutically, it is profound. Because we cannot grow if we are unwilling to hear new perspectives. We cannot heal if we do not listen to the voices inside us, especially the ones we've worked so hard to ignore. We cannot connect if we do not make space for the voices of others. But the opposite is also true. When we refuse to hear, we enable suffering to continue. So what's our mental health prescription for this week, for this Parsha? Listen to understand, not just to respond. Like Yitro, let's let what we hear impact us. Create a safe space for listening. Practice active listening to yourself. The Rambam emphasizes self-awareness as a key to growth, and embrace Na'aseh v'nishma act, but also be willing to continuously learn. Yitro heard and he acted. The world heard about the hostages, but so many are choosing silence. We as Jews, as human beings, as people who believe in truth, justice, and healing, must choose differently. May we all learn to hear, not just with our ears, but with our hearts, and in doing so, bring more and more healing into the world. Shabbat Shalom.